When diplomacy isn't an option, you can always challenge. So, with the recent sets in Lorcana, challenging has become a real strategy, and who doesn't like a different way to win? This week, I have a fun and aggressive deck for you, and unlike other aggro decks, this one's not aggressive on the questing. Instead, it really wants to fight. So cards like Mulan and Mushu are kind of at the core of this, or the heart of this type of deck, where they reward challenging. So, where do we start? Well, we build a list with a strategy or a goal in mind, in this case, fighting, and then we look for cards that synergize or reward that strategy. So, are you ready to talk about this fight club? Let's look at the list. All right, so here is my Fight Club, I guess, version one list. As you can see, it is probably no surprise to you, Ruby and Steel. So most of these cards want to fight, have good kind of willpower and strength, or reward fighting in some way, like gaining lore or gaining cards. So some of the key cards in this deck are like the Mushus and the Mulans that all have fighting capabilities in mind. So there's a couple of Mulans that can challenge readied characters. There's Mulans that do extra damage when they come in, and there's Mushus that give reckless and rush and whatnot. And we'll look at all those in a second. Card draw is really important for decks like this too, because if you're fighting a lot, there's a good chance you're going to be losing some of your characters, and you want to be able to play as many characters as possible to be able to keep fighting and keep challenging. So there are some card draw options in here, like Queen of Hearts, and again, we'll get to all of those in a second. But the kind of great thing about this list is that it doesn't really mind if it loses its characters. In fact, part of it really wants to lose its characters because the goal is not to quest, although you can. The goal is to gain lore from challenging. So let's go look at some of the key cards here. So first off, what was the design from? What was the motivation, the inspiration for this deck? So it was Shere Khan originally, like right when it came out in set two, and recently Mushu. So Shere Khan and Mushu, and I guess kind of the new fighting Steel Stitch that's in the list, all kind of do the same thing or get you the same reward, which is they gain you lore from challenging. Shere Khan specifically says that when your character's challenges, you gain a lore. And Mushu says that when one of your characters banishes another character, you gain 2 lore. So, I mean, in theory, perfect world, they're both out and you're banishing characters. That's potentially 3 lore that you're gaining off of them. 4 lore if you're using the new Stitch to do it. And then there's those other cards that obviously synergize with that, with the gaining lore from challenging or banishing, like the Robin Hood and the Calhoun. So we started with our idea or our inspiration, which is gaining lore from challenging, and then from there we essentially like looked through all the cards to see what cards really gave us that extra kind of analogous or synergy there, or rewards for doing what these 2 cards want to do anyways. So after those two, we've got, let's go see this. Cards that gain you rewards from challenging. So we have the Queen of Hearts here that says when one of your characters challenges another character, draw a card. So again, you want to be challenging and you want to be able to draw cards. Drawing cards important. Queen of Hearts does it for you. So does Robin Hood. So Robin Hood, when he's banished, he gets to draw a card as long as he's banished in challenge. But he also gains you lore from challenging, which is a good thing there. And next one is Calhoun, who gains you lore from challenging as well. So you can see how the gaining lore, or in Queen of Hearts case, gaining cards from challenging, just kind of plays into the wanting to fight strategy. After rewards, we have things that kind of give us extra challenging buffs, or extra kind of like things that you can do in the game to kind of push your forward. So it's more synergies. So in this case, my example is Mushu here, which you can exert him to give a character rush. So being able to rush in with, say, the big Robin Hood, to be able to start gaining lore right away from challenging seems pretty good to me. Other ones that we have are that kind of help really boost our synergy or strategy here is Lumiere, that says your other characters get +1 strength. So all of a sudden your fighters get that much bigger and that much tougher. And most of the fighters are pretty big and tough anyways, that this just means that they might get that 1 extra point of damage to really like take out those characters, which again, banishing plays right into the strategy of being able to gain extra cards or gain lore. Next one that we have, the real potential problem that this deck could face is that your opponents could keep their characters readied. If your opponent's characters are readied, they could just sit there and wait until they can quest to 20, and you really can't get your fun strategies of challenging and banishing their characters. So we have to put some characters in that can banish ready characters. Li Shang can banish ready characters. There's a Mulan that can do it as well. And those will become important in this deck as soon as your opponent figures out what your game plan is, they could very easily stop you by just no longer questing or singing or doing anything with their characters. So, as you could probably tell by the deck list at the beginning, the big kind of cards of this deck, the big named characters, if you will, of this deck are the Mulans. So, I've got a Mulan Imperial Guard here. We've got the Mulan charging ahead, and I mean, we have other Mulans too, but the Mulan Elite Archer, these are kind of the three big Mulans that really play into the fight strategy here. So, the Imperial General is a cool one. She allows your characters to be able to challenge rated characters. And the Mulan charging ahead can just do it on her own. So, like I said, with the Li Shang, it's going to be important to be able to take out your opponent's readied characters. And the one that I love, the one that I looked at and thought I'm going to put her in a Shere Khan deck, was the Mulan Elite Archer. Because if you shift her in, and obviously there's a lot of Mulans to shift her on top of, she gets +3 strength that turn, and then on any turn, whenever she challenges a character, she does the same amount of damage to up to two other characters. So you can see how she really kind of punches above her weight class, or potentially like takes out three characters for the price of one, which is just great in like a challenging and banishing deck. Um, so yeah, that is the deck list. I'll bring the deck list back up here again. You can see all of them synergize very nicely with that Fight Club type of thing, which is great. So this is the type of Fight Club we can talk about, but if it goes well, hopefully your opponents won't really want to talk about it anymore after you beat them.